once again to Senior Focus. I'm your host, Bill Adams. Senior Focus is a show that comes to you a couple times each month on Armstrong's Channel 20 and 100. And thank you to Greg Roten from Armstrong, who is nice enough to produce the show and make sure we get on the air. You can also watch the show if you've missed part of it on demand afterwards, and also on YouTube. And you could just put in Armstrong Cable and Senior Focus on a search, and you'll be able to find many of our shows in the past year or two. Today we're going to be talking, also I want to thank Keith Kaiser. I'm sorry, we're coming to you from the Davis Visitor Center at Mill Creek Park, and thanks to Keith and all the folks at Mill Creek Metro Parks. Today we're going to talk about Habitat for Humanity, which probably many of us have heard of the name, but we're going to get details about Habitat for Humanity in the Mahoning Valley area, Mahoning County. And to talk about that with us, we have Monica Craven, she's the executive director, and Ron Boingesser, who is a volunteer with them, and he has been very instrumental in their latest project, a home for a veteran. So thank you both for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Well, why don't we start with Ron on this, and because again, the major focus today is going to be the home for the veteran. And Ron, you were on last year, and this was sort of an idea you had. And why don't you start with the basis of the idea, and then we'll go through.
Well, the basis started 3.5 years ago. My wife and I joined the Austintown Senior Center and noticed there was a lot of veterans sitting in there. And having a discussion with the veterans that they didn't have anything to do, or they weren't affiliated with any military, American Legion, VFW, etc. Mm-hmm. And so we started the Veterans Corner at the Austintown Senior Center, where we help veterans with problems, their wives, their sons, their daughters, etc. So I got a brainstorm that all these veterans are coming back. I'm a Vietnam vet, but I'm talking about all the veterans that are coming back now. They really paid a big price for all the stuff that's going on in Iraq and Afghanistan. And I just felt that it's about time that the country gives something back. And so I come up with this brainstorm to have a house built for a veteran. And like I said, it started 3.5 years ago. I went to Austintown, and they looked at me like I was crazy. I went to other few veterans groups, and they said, that'll never happen here. And then I took it to the Post, and they said, hey, go for it. You will anyway. So I went for it. I stayed with it, and it's a reality now. We do have a piece of property in Austintown on New Road. We have a house going to be built on New Road, and we have a veteran, a 42-year-old vet. He was injured in Afghanistan. He was forced out of the service, 18 years in the Marines. He has 2 stepdaughters, and he has a stepson. He has a wife. So they'll be living in this home, which is going to be on New Road in Austintown.
Well, I was going to say at this point, one of the key things I think for you was you were, if I'm not mistaken, you were affiliated or volunteering with Habitat for Humanity a while back, right? Mm-hmm. So you knew about Habitat.
Well, I knew about Habitat because up to September of 13, I was the chairperson between Habitat for Humanity and Austintown Community Church.
Okay.
For the last 6-7 years. Mm-hmm. So I was very familiar with it, and I was very involved with it, and so it just kept escalating from that.
Mm-hmm. Well, at this point, maybe Monica, you could just start with when you first talked with Ron about this, or you know, with the first idea that you had, or the discussions you originally had to get this
I
going.
think when Ron came to Habitat first, we might have been like everybody else and kind of laughed a little bit. We love Ron very much. He's a great volunteer, but it was a big idea, and it was going to take a lot of players, and I think we all underestimated the bulldog that Ron would be, and the way that he would, get people on board on this. And so he brought on the trustees, and he brought on Mahoning County Land Bank. And about a year ago, he said, Monica, get in the car. We're going to go drive around and look at some properties. And Habitat's doing this, and here it comes. And so we're happy to be involved. It's something that we were really excited about, and it's been a lot due to Ron and him bringing in a lot of players that Habitat hasn't had the opportunity to work with. We've never built in Austintown before, so that's a really great opportunity for us to serve an entire new community and a veterans population, which is a population that we have not served in our home ownership program in a while. So it's been a great partnership, but it took us a while to get here too with him. But we're very excited, and now it's really going quickly and fast, and it's going to be a reality very, very soon here.
Yeah, and again, we have time to go into this a little bit, but can you talk about, Ron, you were talking about some of the things that the hurdles that have to be cleared and the steps. So when you had the idea, then you had to find, I guess a location is one thing. Was Austintown always sort of the choice you had, or was?
Yes, for when I originally started this, and then in the last year and a half, it's really stepped up. And I went back to the trustees and, are you here again? What are you here for? And I say, you know what I'm here for? And so at that particular time, they were doing a lot of demolition of all the houses that were left abandoned.
Sure.
And the Mahoney County Land Bank, which I had to go to them also, said there might be a way where I could get one. The piece of property that we were looking at, or the one that we got here, there was like $10,000 liens on here. And if I would have took this last April, and the people could be living in it now, it would have cost $10,000 just to get the land.
Okay.
So it had to go through a foreclosure procedure, court procedure, so much for this, so many days for that. And I went back to, from the land bank, they said it looks good, but you gotta clear it with the Mahoney County Commissioners. So I went there, and, oh, you're back. So I'm back, here I am, this is what we gotta do. Yeah, we're doing this, this is going. And David Ditzel, who was the Austintown trustee at the time, when I came to him, he actually laughed. He said, what are you, nuts? This ain't never gonna go off. And I said, you wanna bet? So now that he's the commissioner, I go after him there. So it went very well. It was a long process. How we got the veteran for the house was that we did a lottery. We had a party at the Austintown Senior Center where I have my Veterans Corner. And we had open house, and anybody who wanted to participate in the house was open to all veterans and families. But whatever veteran wanted to participate had to bring a copy of his DD 214 so we could verify he was who he said it was. And I wasn't going to give it to a dishonorable veteran.
Sure.
So we checked that out, and once we checked it out, then I got with Monica and said, Monica, here they are. And we had about 17, 18 families, but when it really got down into the nitty-gritty, we had about 8 good ones that we had to go back and forth with, check this out, check that out. And of course, there's a mortgage involved, there's 30 years involved. So it wasn't just that, hey, you're a veteran, here's the house, you know. There was a lot of guidelines, and Monica could give you a little more about that detail. But that's how it started, and the gentleman that got it now, or the veteran, got it because he was chosen out of the lottery. And so that's how this went.
Well, at this point, this would be maybe a good place to mention again Habitat for Humanity and maybe give some contact information, like where you're located. And we'll give this towards the end of the program too, but how people can get a hold of you.
So Habitat for Humanity here in Mahoning County is located at 480 Youngstown Poland Road in Struthers. And our phone number is 330-743-7244. We also are online at habitatmahoningcounty.org. So people can check us out there, they can come and visit, or they can give us a call.
Right, I got a lot of good information off of the website, learning more about this project and a lot of the work that you do. And one of the things Ron was talking about is, you know, the selection process.
Yeah.
And in this case, you know, there's a lottery, but I'm imagine the need is really great out there. I mean, there are a lot of people that could benefit from this. Now, you have committees and volunteers that work with you, is that right?
Yes.
On all kind of
We have
parts of the-
committees, we
yeah.
have volunteers. Let me speak first to the family selection process. The process that the veteran went for this process is very similar to the process that most of our homeowners go through.
Okay.
They come in, they are chosen based on need. They need this. If they can go get a conventional mortgage, they don't need Habitat.
Okay.
They also need to be living in somewhere that's substandard. They have to be able to pay for the home, so they have to have enough sustainable income to afford a 30-year mortgage, and good enough credit that this credit won't drag them under when you add an additional mortgage to that. And the last criteria is called willingness to partner. Our partner families do 300 to 400 hours of volunteering with us. In addition, they do a bunch of home ownership classes, finance classes, so they have to be willing to participate in all of that. So once we had determined that all the veteran families were honorably discharged veterans, then they came and they ran through our regular selection process to make sure that they met all of our financial criteria for lending. So we do that process with all of our families. It takes anywhere from 6 months to a year usually for a family to get through that process. And we're looking to build 3 to 6 houses a year, so we're always looking for families to qualify for the program. Our families are low income. For example, a family of 4 makes between about $16,000 and $32,000 a year, so they're not making a heck of a lot of money. And there is a lot of need, like you said, in this area. So anybody who's looking to own their own home and can't go out and get a regular mortgage should definitely call. And the selection process is really run by volunteers. You mentioned that. We rely heavily on volunteers. We can't afford paid staff for everything we'd like to be able to pay them for.
Sure.
So we have a selection committee who goes through and vets all the families and does all the processing. And then we have a support committee. So once they're approved, helping make sure they take their classes and get their sweat equity and that all their needs are met. We have volunteers for that. And then we also have volunteers that build the house, too, so.
Right, and that's a major project.
Major
obviously.
project,
Major project.
yes.
Well, speaking of which, on the Veterans Home, Ron, when is that scheduled to start up?
We're gonna break ground in the 1st of March, depending upon the weather here. It's been a cold winter. And probably sometime in April, we'll start with the house. It takes 16 to 18 weeks to complete. So I would think sometime between June and July, if everything goes with no major problems, the veteran and his family should be moving in.
And we're having a lot of interest in this project. Unfortunately, Mother Nature is probably more in control of it than I would prefer, but we're doing a ground blessing ceremony at 10 a.m. on March 1st out at the site. So maybe we need snow boots, maybe we need regular shovels, but we'll be out there doing the opening ceremony. And then, God willing, weather willing, we'll do a wall raising the end of March, and then build April, May, a little bit into June, hopefully be done with it in June or July, like Ron said.
And to give people an idea, again, I live near that area. It's on New Road, and it's between Raccoon and Meridian Road.
It's at the squiggle.
Right.
Apparently, everybody knows where the squiggle is, and it's where the squiggle is.
Okay.
It's the second lot before you get to the squiggle.
Yep, yep.
It's empty now. They tore the old house down.
Yeah, and you were saying that you did the two of you sort of did a tour, right?
Yes.
To look for properties?
We went with the Mahoning County Land Bank, and I think we went to seven or eight of them, and we go to all these places and just look at, what the possibility is. Is it a good neighborhood? Is it stable? Is it too busy of a street? Good for a family? Those kind of things. And so then we made our list first to last, and this was our first choice.
That came on top.
Yep, it worked out perfectly.
Now, in terms of, again, this project, you've got some fundraisers and things going on. Do you want to mention at this point, there's something coming up, Zumbathon, is it?
A Zumbathon, yes. We're putting on a Zumbathon. One of our homeowners, James Skoke's friend, is putting on the Zumbathon for him.
Okay.
And it will be at the Austintown Elementary School on Saturday, February 15th.
Okay.
The doors open at 9. We'll be there until 12 o'clock. We'll have a basket raffle. And Zumba, for those who may not know Zumba, is an aerobics exercise, but it's all based on dances. So, Latin dancing and Indian dancing. And you don't have to be good. There's a lot. It's just a very fun sort of way to exercise. So we'll be dancing for 2 hours. People can register either prior on our website, or they can register that day, $20 that day at the Austintown Elementary School.
And I would imagine for the non-Zumba-ers, that would be me. You would accept support to sponsor,
Absolutely.
to help. Okay.
Yeah. We would be happy with that, or we're still looking for baskets for the raffle, those kind of things would also be fantastic. Food donations, that kind of stuff would be great.
I'm also in the process, I didn't straighten it out with them yet, with the senior center, but I don't think it's a problem. We're gonna put on a 50 stands
Okay.
to bring in,
Wonderful.
I already have the DJ.
Right.
And so, that ought to be very interesting, it ought to bring in a little crowd.
Sure.
In the process, I made a letter, and I've sent out, and Monica has, from Habitat, but I personally sent out over 125 letters already to organizations, to all military veteran groups around, American Legion, VFW, et cetera, asking them for help to donate whatever they could, monetary or a window, a door, whatever. And it's coming along very well. We have a lot of donations.
Yeah.
We have all the lighting. We have a company donating the roof.
Oh,
We
wow.
have the garage door already
We
donated.
have all the trusses donated.
The trusses are donated, the concrete slabs are donated.
Yep.
I mean, it just keeps going and going. And we also have monetary, and the people are coming in, $25, $50, a couple $100 in checks. So every little bit will be added, and it's a great thing. I have to mention also that the Austintown trustees got aboard, and they have some also influence and some people from what they do, and they're also involved.
Yeah.
And I'm getting all the lighting donated for this place, and they're being made in California is where the company is. But through connections, friends of friends, Home Depot came aboard. The local 5 municipalities here are all going to pitch in as labor as far as some material. So it just keeps growing. Right now I have a list of about 45 names of people that all want to, including a couple churches and the Post and a few people at the senior center that can, there's still some young ones there. And so it's really a booming. We might end up with too many people. We're also in the process of getting people to donate lunches for the dinner, make a bag lunch, box lunch.
Well, that's a good point, and this goes back, I guess, to any particular home that Habitat works with, and maybe Monica, you can address this.
Yeah.
We talked about volunteers, and you talked about volunteers that work on some of these committees, but
Yeah.
the actual volunteering to build the house,
Yeah.
and Ron, you just mentioned, getting food to the people that are
Right.
building. Can you go talk a little bit more about, what that process is like in gathering the volunteers and organizing?
Well, anytime we build a house, we need 3 things. We need the money to build it, we need the people to build it, and we need to feed the people who build it.
Okay, yeah.
So the first is we have to fundraise for a house before we start on it. So we're looking for $80,000 to $100,000 every time we start a house. So many times people will be like, so when's the next house coming up? I'll say $80,000 from now. So that's the big thing we're always looking for, and that can come in cash donations, it could come in gift in kind, you're a drywall finisher and you would like to donate your labor, that sort of thing. The second thing comes down to be volunteers. It takes about 300 volunteers, 2,000 man-hours to build a Habitat house. So that's a considerable number of people.
Sure.
And so we're always looking for people who can come out and volunteer. You don't have to have any skills, and in fact, most of the people who come out on our construction sites have no skills at all. We'll teach you everything you need to know when you come out to the job site. We're out there during the week, we're also out there on the weekends, so that we can work around people's work schedules. We get a lot of retired folks on Wednesdays, a lot of college kids, and people who work full-time out on Saturdays. This build, because we have so much interest in it, will probably be out there at least 3 days a week, if not 4 days a week. So a little bit more coming on. We also have groups that come out. So you're in a Rotary Club, or you're in a knitting group, and you all want to do something together, or a business. You come out together, and you can all come out one day together. So that's a really great opportunity. But our volunteers work hard, and we like to feed them. We like to give them lunches whenever they're out on site, and it's just our way of thanking them for their time. The volunteer time saves us about $30,000 for every house we build, so
Wow.
it's significant. So we need lunches for every time a crew's out there. Weekday crews are a little smaller, weekend crews are bigger. That could be anything from a business who actually cooks food and who brings that food out, to someone who brings out their Smoky Joe and grills hot dogs and hamburgers out on the job site. So it can be a wide variety of things, but we definitely need time, talent, food, money, all of those things.
Well, that's the hope, again, through Senior Focus, is that people that are watching would see the need and see a chance to help out a little bit. And again, I imagine you're probably not going to turn down folks, even if they only have a day
No.
that they can volunteer or a meal that they can prepare.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't have to carry the whole load. That's why you have so many people.
Right. Yeah, like I said, 300 volunteers. I would say probably 200 of those come one time and never come back again. The other 100 probably come over and over and over. We get some lunch people who say, I'll give you one lunch every house. Some say, let me try this once and see if this even works. So, yeah, all varieties.
I tell everybody, if you can't use a hammer, you can push a broom. There's many things that they can do. They don't have to be educated. They just want to come out. They just want to be able to come out and enjoy a good time, because it is a good time. You meet a lot of people. You get to know a lot of strange people.
And we like people with odd talents. We find that that there's almost no talent we can't put to use for Habitat. I usually dare people to come up with a talent that I can't put to use for Habitat. I had a lady once who embroidered, and she said, "What? You don't need embroidery, you build houses." And I said, "Well, we'd like to have our shirts embroidered. Would you do logos?" And she was like, "I'd love to." Quadriplegics, you know, we've worked with all kinds of different people. Ron, you know, we work with everybody.
And again, this is the Habitat Home for a Veteran, which is being, well, going to be March 1st is the groundbreaking. Right, but it'll be under construction on New Road in Austintown for the next several months. And we've talked about the Zumbathon, which is coming up. You also, just in general with Habitat, you have something called the Restore.
Yes.
Could you talk a little bit about that and what that is and how it works?
The Restore, and I'll give you some history on it too. Habitat's been doing projects for 30 years, and we get a lot of calls, people who say, "Oh, you're doing a great project like the Veterans House. Here, have my window. Here, have my door. Here, have my extra lumber," and put it in a house. And for a long time, we were really trying to do that. But eventually, your houses start to look like a patchwork quilt. You know, you've got funny-sized windows and funny-sized doors and different color siding. You're like, okay, this isn't working anymore. So we're like, but we don't want to turn down all this stuff. People need this. So what we started, and I won't say we, but Habitats around the country started Restores. And it's a place where you can donate your used furniture, building materials, new or used, and we resell those to the general public. All the money that's raised from that comes back to Habitat to be able to build more houses. The goal for the Restore is to be able to fund all of the boring administrative part of Habitat, so that dollars that people hand us, we can build straight toward houses.
Oh, that makes sense. Sure.
The Restore is a fabulous resource. They've got furniture, they've got homewares, they've got kitchen cabinets and windows and doors and toilets and sinks and all of these things. And they're over there on Youngstown Poland Road, 480 Youngstown Poland Road in Struthers. And we're open Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 9 until 4 o'clock. So it's a great place, and it has sustained our organization through what has been a very, very difficult time for other nonprofits in this area. The economy went down, donations went down, Restore sales went up. So it's been really a lifesaver for us.
Yeah, that is a great idea. I'm on Facebook, and I saw somebody posted just yesterday some great deal at the Restore. And it was, you know, for a few $100s, a whole furniture set.
Yes.
And so that would be a good option, you know, not, you know, for the community, for people in need. But if you have extra items, again, bring them to your location in Youngstown Poland Road.
Right, so anyone's welcome to come and shop. Anyone's welcome to come and volunteer. We're always looking for volunteers there. So if you don't want to come out to the construction site because maybe uneven ground doesn't work for you, we have pricing, we have sorting, we have customer service, we have cash register, all those things we need help with. And additionally, anyone can donate. I mean, everybody goes out eventually and gets a new piece of furniture and thinks, what am I going to do with this thing I've got in my house? Or, you know, you're moving and you're downsizing and you need to get rid of items. You can bring them to us if they're small. If they're large, you can give us a call. We'll even come get them.
Oh, you pick things up?
We do pick things up.
What a deal.
Yeah, I mean, it can't get better than that, right?
And the types of homes you're building, these are ranch style, is that correct?
Yeah, we build all single-story ranch-style homes. Again, you can't put volunteers on a two-story roof, at least not very well.
Right.
So we're building mostly one story. A lot of our houses are in different municipalities, so they have different requirements. Some have garages, some have basements, some don't. This particular house is going to be a slab-on-grade home, and we're doing that because of the disabilities that this veteran requires. And so it's going to be all handicap accessible, all ADA compliant. You'll be able to wheel a chair through the whole thing, and it'll have a 1.5 car garage, so in case you need to get a chair into a van or something like that.
Well, that's a very nice feature, again, that you're not going to find in most homes, the handicapped accessibility,
Yeah.
which is ideal for, again, many veterans.
Whatever equipment he needs in his master bath, special tub, and et cetera, whatever he needs will be in there. Will be all ADA, which is American Disability Act. So it's all covered, and whatever he needs is going in there.
Yeah.
Even little things like handles and those
instead
kind of,
knobs for the
yeah,
doors,
having the
yeah.
doors be nice and wide, turning radiuses. So we've done a lot of work modifying our normal architectural plans to make sure that this house will suit him well in the long run.
Sure. And I hate to put you on the spot here, but Ron, do you have plans for future veterans' homes?
I want to get one, once we sign off on this, which
Yeah.
I don't think we will yet, but I'm looking at another one, we start one in Struthers.
Okay.
But I have to meet up with the town fathers there and go through the same process.
And convince me again.
I got a champ aboard.
Well, and again, we should note that this is a specific home for a veteran here, but you've been doing this, meaning Habitat for Humanity in Mahoning County, for how long? How many years?
We have been, this is actually our 25th anniversary this
Okay.
year, so we're very excited about that. The Veterans Home will be our 43rd home in
Okay.
Mahoning County. There are 1,500 Habitat affiliates in the United States, and we're also worldwide. Worldwide, we've built more than 800,000
Oh, wow.
houses. So there's 4 million people currently living in a Habitat home somewhere in the world. So we've been doing this for a while. Here, only about 25 years. Other places a little longer than that. But we're at number 43 here in Mahoning County. Very proud of that.
And again, it may be some contact information for those who are interested.
Yep, our address is 480 Youngstown Poland Road in Struthers. Our phone number is 330-743-7244. And you can find us on the web at habitatmahoningcounty.org or on Facebook. We're there too.
Are there any other things that we haven't covered about the home that you wanted to mention or just want to highlight again?
No, I think we're pretty well got it laid out.
Okay.
It's on a nice lot, the trees are there. We had to take some trees down to make room for the house, which is a little better than 1,400 square feet. It's all ground level. He'd be able to get right out of the car, right into the house. And we left some trees, and we left the boundaries, and it's a pretty good-sized piece of property there.
And again, just to reiterate, the family will be paying a regular mortgage on this.
Right, I was going to say a little bit more about the family. It's Staff Sergeant James Skoke is the
Right.
veteran,
Okay.
and his wife Lori, and it'll be his 2 stepdaughters and his son will be living in the home, and they are very, very, very excited. It's fun to watch families go through this because when it starts to be reality and there starts to be pictures and there starts to be groundbreakings, they start to picture their life and how it's going to change. And he's been nothing if not definitely very, very grateful for this. And he's already working on his hours. I think he's right around 100 hours he's already done toward his 400. His family has done toward their 400. Even the kids get hours for getting good grades in school, so that's been
good.
great. And at the end of the whole thing, he will purchase the home from Habitat. We will be the mortgage holder, so kind of we're the construction company and the bank. It'll be probably about a 30-year mortgage. The mortgage payment is calculated to be affordable for him and his family.
Right.
Make sure it's not more than a third of his income. And then the home will be sold to him for the appraised value. So we're not quite sure what that's going to be yet. We've never built in Austintown, so that'll be a very interesting opportunity. And the best part for him is the interest rate on his home, which is 0.
Well, can't get better than that.
Not unless we pay him to live there. So 0% will be his interest rate, and that's what we do for all of our Habitat homeowners. And then for the next 30 years, we'll just, be with him as he goes through this process of being a homeowner and learning how to take care of a home and that type of thing.
Well, thank you very much, both of you. We've run out of time, unfortunately, but we've been talking with Ron Boingesser and Monica Craven. They're working with Habitat for Humanity and building a veterans home in Austintown. And we've been, again, coming to you through Armstrong Channel 20 and 100. This is Senior Focus. My name is Bill Adams. We come to you a couple times each month, and thanks to Greg Roten. Also thanks to Keith Kaiser and Mill Creek Metro Parks for the use of the Davis Visitor Center. Until next time, thanks to you for watching.